Well, alright everyone, we are just 10 days away from April, and there's still no inkling or announcement of a new iPad Pro or an iPad Air, so at this point we're starting to wonder when these iPads will be released. Let's talk about it. So we originally thought that the iPad Pros and new iPad Airs were going to be announced earlier this month and then released towards the end of this month, but now it's looking like we will be getting these new iPad Airs as well as the iPad Pros probably in the first or second week of April. On the iPad Air side, we are getting a brand new 12.9-inch iPad Air. Both of the iPad Airs will get new M2 chips, and we'll still have the 10.9-inch, and then we'll have the new larger 12.9-inch iPad Air at a cheaper price than the iPad Pros, because it seems like we're in this world now where people don't want to spend a premium on the actual hardware, they just want to have a larger device. The best example of this has to be the 15-inch MacBook Air, because people wanted a larger portable display for a laptop, but they didn't want to spend MacBook Pro money, so they ended up getting the new 15-inch MacBook Air, which is now Apple's best-selling laptops. So Apple's kind of jumping back into this on the iPad side, thinking that people do want that 12.9-inch display that the iPad Pro has, but they don't want to spend $1,100 at a minimum to get that premium display, but now we'll be getting a 60Hz display on the iPad Air in a 12.9-inch size. And we have a strong inkling that March 26th is going to be when Apple announces specifically the iPad Air, because there have been some Amazon listings from some pretty reputable brands like ESR saying that they will be having cases coming out for a 12.9-inch iPad Air on March 26th. So that could mean that Apple will be announcing it via a press release with some corresponding videos, which then will allow us to pre-order them on March 29th on Friday, and then it'll be coming out that subsequent Friday for the iPad Air in April. And you can see with these Amazon listings that it's going to still hold on to that single camera array. We're not going to have kind of the dual camera situation that we have on the iPad Pro. So this is essentially going to be a repackaged 2018 iPad Pro, which I'm not complaining about. The only difference is going to be is that it's going to have only a 60Hz display versus that 120Hz ProMotion that we are now accustomed to on the iPad Pro side. But if you've never used a 120Hz ProMotion display, you won't be missing much of anything with the 60Hz display, and you'll be getting a much larger screen that will be a little bit more capable than the 11-inch version. And in my opinion, the 12.9-inch iPad Air is going to be the battery king for all iPads because it's going to have a much larger battery, but it's not going to have that 120Hz OLED kind of dragging it down from a battery perspective, and it's going to be very efficient with that M2 chip. So I'm seeing a day, maybe a day and a half of battery life with a new 12.9-inch iPad Air, similar to the iPhone 15 Plus being the battery king on the iPhone side. Now, when it comes to the iPad Pro side of things, we should be getting that same release schedule, where maybe there will be an announcement on March 26th with pre-orders starting March 29th, but we do expect this to be a 2-week delay in terms of actual deliveries, putting us in the second week of April for the deliveries on the 11-inch and the 12.9-inch iPad Pro with the M3 chip built inside. Now, in terms of updates to the iPad, I'm going to link a video down below of everything that we know, because there's a bunch of new stuff coming to these iPads, like OLED displays, smaller bezels, the movement of the main camera to be in landscape mode versus portrait mode, and things of that nature. And it's going to be Apple's best iPad and the best iPad they have to offer, but that's going to come with a nice little price increase that I think is going to happen at least of $100 on the iPad Pro side. And there are new reports that Apple's going to be offering a new matte finish on the display of the iPad Pro, similar to how they offered that upgraded finish on the Pro Display XDR. Now, on the Pro Display XDR, to get that nano textured matte finish, you do have to spend an additional $300, so I do think this matte textured finish is going to come at a premium on the iPad Pro. And it does make sense because, honestly, the iPad Pro is Apple's best display and at the best price point, in my opinion. The 12.9-inch iPad Pro and now the M3 version with OLED is going to be the best display that you can get for that price. So adding the ability to add a textured finish to the iPad Pro seems like a no-brainer, because that's how they handled the Pro Display XDR. People didn't want the glossy finish, but they did have to pay a premium for that $300 upgrade of the matte finish. But Mark Gurman is sticking to his stance that both of these iPad variants will be announced in the end of March, and then they'll start shipping in April, which does make sense in terms of the actual timeline. And he did reiterate that in the very beginning of the month, he did say that at the end of the month, all this would happen. So the fact that the M3 MacBook Air was released earlier this month gave us a little bit of an inkling, thinking maybe we'll get the iPad Pros a little bit earlier, but it looks like we will be getting them in the first or second week of April, hopefully in the first week of April, so we can get our hands on it as quickly as possible. But that's going to do for this video. I just wanted to give you guys a quick little update, and then also ask the question of, are you guys waiting for this new iPad Pro, and what does that mean for you when it does release? Are you going to get the new iPad Pro? Does it maybe make the older iPad Pros a little bit cheaper and more accessible? Are you excited for the new changes that come to the iPad Pro? Are you excited for the 12.9-inch iPad Air, and is that something you're looking forward to? Because it seems like there's going to be a lot of changes on the iPad lineup in general, and after these two iPads come out, we're going to be putting together a nice little buying guide, because after these releases, iPad lineup is going to be even more convoluted, because we'll have the iPad 9th generation, we'll have the iPad 10th generation, we'll have the iPad mini, we'll have a 10.9-inch iPad Air, a 12.9-inch iPad Air, an 11-inch iPad Pro and a 13-inch iPad Pro, which again, just adds more confusion to the mix because they can all relatively do the same thing. It's just how fast and how efficiently you want to be doing those things. But that's going to do for this video. If you guys made it to the end, leave a little dolphin in the comments down below if you guys made it to the end. And let me know also if you guys would pick up a matte finish display on the actual iPad Pro, or if that's something that you don't really see yourself doing. But I, for one, would definitely do it because I'm so used to using my Paper-Like screen protector, which is a matte finish texture display. So let's see exactly how that works out when it's built directly into the display itself. But that's going to do it. If you guys do want to watch some more iOS, macOS, or iPadOS videos, click on one of these right here. If you guys want to see what the Photos app can do, click on this video right here. But until next time, I'm Fernando, and I'm out of here, everybody. Peace. Hopefully these iPads come sooner rather than later.